Welcome in, everyone. We have a very important topic to talk about today, and that is reported clashes between Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu and U.S. President Donald Trump. We are joined yet again by Dusty the dog. Oh, he's a little tired this morning. He's yawning, but as always, he's excited to get into the news. Before we get into the reported problems between Netanyahu and Trump, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment with your thoughts about the current crisis in the Middle East. If you think the U.S. should attack Iran or not, let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit that bell so you always know when a new video is coming. Now, let's get into it. There reportedly has been growing tension between the Netanyahu regime in Israel and President Donald Trump's administration here in the United States, with the core issue being a potential peace deal with Iran over the country's nuclear program. The Trump administration has been adamant that they want to pursue a diplomatic solution to the crisis in the Middle East, but have left the possibility of using military action to take out their underground facilities if necessary, if no peace deal can be reached. However, the Israelis would much rather prefer to just go in militarily and do it that way. They want a military strike. The United States, Trump has been very clear that that is not in their best interest. That is not in the U.S.'s best interest, and they will first pursue peace talks with Iran. But if that fails, we do have a bunch of B-2 stealth bombers loaded up, ready and waiting at Diego Garcia, along with multiple B-52 bombers at Diego Garcia and refueling tankers so that they could be refueled on any potential strike in Iran. So that's kind of the backdrop. These problems have been brewing over a disagreement of how to deal with Iran. The United States wants a diplomatic solution. The Israelis seemingly would much rather prefer a military solution. And they even had to essentially be waved off of an attack. They pitched the White House reportedly on doing strikes that would have happened in May this month that would have required heavy United States assistance. And the Trump administration said, absolutely not. We are not getting involved in that. And Trump said in his time interview, he would make it very uncomfortable for the Israelis. So this is now new reporting. This is from the Times of Israel. I'm going to throw this up on the screen for you here. This claims that tensions and clashes between Trump and Netanyahu have gotten to the point to where Trump is essentially going to go in alone and he's not really going to concern himself with what Bibi wants to do. So this says, U.S. President Donald Trump is disappointed with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel Hayam, I don't really know how to pronounce that, reports, citing two senior sources close to the president. According to the Hebrew Language Daily, in closed-door conversations, Trump said he was going to make progress on his objectives in the Middle East without waiting for Israel. On a deal with Saudi Arabia, Trump wants Israel to be a central part of an agreement, but Netanyahu's delaying making the necessary decision, writes Israel Hayam's Ariel Kahana, who interviewed Trump at Mar-a-Lago last year. Trump is also still upset with Netanyahu and his circle over what he sees as an attempt to push the White House into military action against Iran's nuclear program, say the sources. Israeli officials were caught off guard by Trump's announcement that the U.S. had reached a ceasefire with the Houthis in Yemen this week and by the start of U.S.-Iran nuclear talks in April. After the Houthi ceasefire agreement, Netanyahu and senior ministers have been emphasizing in recent statements that Israel can defend itself. So that is from the Times of Israel, stating that the Trump is not overly happy with Netanyahu and will now pursue his Middle East goals by himself if necessary and will not wait for Israel to get on board. There has been some chatter on social media that Trump has completely cut off communication with Bibi Netanyahu. There's actually no evidence that I've seen, no credible reporting that I've seen that that's true, that they completely cut out communication. What you see is similar to what I just said in the sense that the Times of Israel, citing that other report, that Trump is just very unhappy and has made the decision to go in it alone. But there's more context to this situation about why Trump is not happy, and it involves the Mike Waltz, the fired national security advisor, and we're going to get into that right now. One of the reasons that President Donald Trump is apparently very unhappy with the Israelis, and one of the reasons that Mike Waltz lost his job as the national security advisor, was because of alleged communication behind Trump's back that about a possible strike on Iran. And this comes from reporting from the Washington Post about a week ago, 6 days ago, a week ago. And I'll go ahead and throw it up on the screen for you here. It says, but Waltz also upset Trump after an Oval Office visit in early February by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, when the National Security Advisor appeared to share the Israeli leader's conviction that the time was ripe to strike Iran, two of the people said. Waltz appeared to have engaged in intense coordination with Netanyahu about military options against Iran ahead of an Oval Office meeting between the Israeli leader and Trump, two people said. So that Washington Post article then says that when word got back to Trump about the fact that Waltz had spoken with the Israelis about striking Iran behind his back while they're going on, the United States is pursuing a peace deal, that he was not happy. And for good reason. People who work for the president, their job is to carry out the goals of the administration. It's not their job to just wing it and do whatever they want. Israel, the Prime Minister of Israel's official X account, so Netanyahu's official X account, I'll throw this up on the screen for you, actually came out and released a statement that said, contrary to the Washington Post report, Prime Minister Netanyahu did not have intensive contact with Mike Waltz on Iran. PM Netanyahu had a warm meeting with Mike Waltz and Steve Witkoff at Blair House in February prior to the Prime Minister's meeting with President Trump at the White House. Mike Waltz also joined VP J.D. Vance in a meeting with the Prime Minister before leaving Washington. Since then, the Prime Minister, the former National Security Advisor, and Steve Witkoff had one phone conversation that did not deal with Iran. We congratulate Mr. Waltz on his important appointment to the UN. So that is Israel saying, nope, we did not talk with Waltz behind Trump's back. The Washington Post, citing several sources, says, yes, you did. Trump believes that they did. Now, maybe everyone's wrong and Netanyahu's telling the truth. I don't know. We're going off the reporting, what Trump said, and the fact that Trump is apparently very unhappy and removed Mike Waltz from his job, on top of the new reporting out of Israel that Trump is going to go into the situation alone. Why does this matter? Why is this important? Well, let's go ahead and talk about that right now. The reality of the situation is pretty simple, and it's kind of an America first argument. And it doesn't mean that you dislike any other country or anything like that. But at the end of the day, the job of the President of the United States is to look out for the United States of America. It is not the job of the President of the United States to look out for any other country, whether that's France, England, Israel, Germany, South Korea, you name the country. We want those countries to do well. We want their people to do well. But that's not our top priority. The top priority of the United States is to do what is best for the United States. And I'm not sitting here telling you that bombing Iran is the best option. I'm not sitting here telling you the diplomatic solution is the best option. I'm just telling you that the job of the president is to make sure American objectives and American goals are at the forefront and they take priority. Trump wants a peace deal with Iran. The Israelis, as they have made clear, believe the military option is better. Those two ideas cut directly against each other, right? You can't have peace and a war at the same time. Doesn't work that way. Trump has clearly prioritized the diplomatic solution. He has clearly made the decision that he thinks war, and Trump hates war. War in the Middle East right now is not in the benefit of the United States of America. We don't need to be sending more troops, more money, more blood and treasure over there. This is President Trump's point of view, and the Israelis disagree with that. Netanyahu disagrees with that. So Trump reportedly is not happy. He's made a decision now that they will push forward on their own. And the reality of the situation is that the Israelis don't really have any options on the table other than to play ball. Because as we've talked about many times, Israel lacks the technology and tools to carry out a strike on Iran. That is just a fact. That's not a debate point. That's not something we're speculating. We know that to be true. Israel does not have the capacity to hit underground facilities. They lack the GBU-57, and more importantly, they lack the plane necessary to carry it, which is the B-2 stealth bomber. There is no situation where the United States is going to let Israel, or any other country for that fact, get their hands on a B-2 stealth bomber. What Israel could do is take out stuff on the surface. They could take out storage depots, supply lines, radar systems, missile sites, things of that nature. But that's only going to get Iran to race towards getting a bomb. So that's the hard truth of the situation. The United States is the global superpower. We are the world's most powerful military. And at the end of the day, if a strike on Iran has to happen, only the United States has the capability to do it. Sorry, that might hurt people's feelings. They might not like that truth. Doesn't mean you dislike any other country over there or their military. That's just the fact of the matter. Only the United States can do it. And right now, President Trump has decided he doesn't want to do it. He wants to pursue peace, and that has created a significant rift, reportedly, between Trump and Netanyahu and the Israeli government. I don't know what to tell you past that. At the end of the day, Trump is way more powerful. It's not even close. He runs the world's biggest superpower with the world's greatest military. At the end of the day, something tells me Trump is going to get his way in this one because he holds all the cards and he holds all the power. But you let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know in the comments if you think Trump should go after Iran, if he should continue the peace deal, what you think about his reported issues with Netanyahu. Make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'll see y'all next time.